Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into the inner workings of literally the most powerful, complex, and honestly fascinating computer in the known universe. Yep, your very own brain. We carry this incredible biological machine with us everywhere we go, yet most of us rarely stop to think about the sheer amount of processing power happening right between our ears. Today, we're going to break down exactly how it works, from the microscopic messengers firing off inside your head to the grand architecture of your thoughts and memories.
So, to really get a grip on what we're talking about here, I want you to try a super quick experiment with me. Wherever you are, just close your eyes for 1 single second. Seriously, just 1 second. Okay, now open them. Have you ever actually wondered what your brain pulled off in that tiny, incredibly brief window of time without you even having to try? It feels like nothing, right? Just a literal blink. But behind the scenes, your biological supercomputer was running at absolute maximum capacity. Well, in just that single second, look at what it did. It instantly recognized your surroundings, perfectly focused your eyes the moment you opened them, processed literally millions of color variations, understood the words I'm saying to you right now, kept your breathing steady, beat your heart in a perfect rhythm, and seamlessly stored new memories of this exact moment. All of that in less than a second. And here's the truly wild part. Your brain never takes a break. It's working every single second of every single day, from the exact moment you're born until the very end.
Section 1. Meet your hardware. The 3-pound miracle.
Let's take a look at the physical components of this supercomputer that never, ever powers down. Your brain weighs only about 3 pounds, which is roughly 1.4 kilograms. To put that into perspective, it's basically the weight of a standard pineapple you'd grab at the grocery store. Doesn't sound very big, does it? But this compact 3-pound organ is responsible for every single thing you will ever experience.
Yet, inside that pineapple-sized space is a truly staggering number, 86 billion. That's about how many neurons are packed in there. Neurons are basically special cells that carry information. If you were sitting in a middle school science class right now, the best way to picture these neurons is to imagine them as billions of tiny students passing notes to each other across a giant classroom. These tiny electrical messengers form a bustling communication network containing hundreds of trillions of connections. In fact, if you stretched all those microscopic connections end-to-end into a single line, they'd travel millions of kilometers. No way, right?
And these messengers aren't just numerous, they are unbelievably fast. They zip nerve signals around your brain and body at speeds topping 400 kilometers per hour. That is literally faster than a Formula One race car. So every time you accidentally touch a hot stove or hear your name called in the hallway, those signals are just flooring it so your body can react in real time. Section 2. The tiny messengers. How your neurons communicate. Okay, having 86 billion note passers is awesome, but how do they actually hand the note off to the next student in line to create your thoughts, your reflexes, and your movements? Well, that brings us to a crucial piece of anatomy. When you touch or hear something, an electrical signal races down the neuron. But here's the catch. The neurons aren't actually touching each other. At the very end of the line, the signal hits a tiny microscopic gap called a synapse. Imagine a runner sprinting with a message right to the edge of a tiny stream. The runner can't swim, so how on earth does the message get to the other side?
To cross this gap, the electrical signal suddenly changes form. It transforms into chemical messengers known as neurotransmitters. Going back to our analogy, think of neurotransmitters like a little fleet of ferry boats. The electrical runner hands the paper message to these chemical ferry boats, and they float right across that tiny stream, the synapse, to reach the shore of the very next neuron.
Let's break this down step by step because it's literally happening millions of times a second in your head right this moment. Step 1. The electrical signal races rapidly down the line. Step 2. The signal reaches that tiny synapse gap. Step 3. The signal changes into chemical messengers, our ferry boats, the neurotransmitters, to cross the gap. It's like a massive, lightning-fast game of telephone. The electrical signal races to the edge, turns into a chemical messenger, crosses the gap, sparks the next neuron in line, and boom, you suddenly remember where you left your keys.
Section 3. Inside the control center, different departments, different jobs.
So, all of these billions of firing neurons are beautifully organized into different departments, making your brain a giant, highly efficient control center. Just like a school has an art department, a gym, and a principal's office, your brain delegates different jobs to specific regions. Let's look at the big 3. On the left, we've got the cerebrum. This is the biggest part, essentially the creative director and lead problem solver. It handles your imagination, learning, and talking. In the middle sits the cerebellum, tucked right at the back. This is your physical coordinator. It's the reason you can ride a bike, catch a baseball, or just walk across the room without having to mathematically calculate every single muscle twitch. And on the right, the brainstem. This is the IT department running the servers in the basement. It controls your automatic survival systems, your breathing, your heartbeat, your blood pressure. It keeps you alive without you even having to think about it.
Section 4. Upgrading your brain's hardware. How memories and learning work. Now, unlike the laptop or phone you're probably watching this on, your biological supercomputer has a feature that tech companies can literally only dream of. It actually upgrades itself every time you learn something new or practice a skill. Scientists call this remarkable feature neuroplasticity. For a long time, people actually thought that once you grew up, your brain was basically set in stone. We now know that is absolutely false. Neuroplasticity means your brain literally, physically rewires itself based on what you do. It changes its structure and builds stronger neural pathways throughout your entire life. It's never finished growing.
And as you can see, this brilliantly illustrates how that works in practice. Let's compare a new connection to a strong connection. Think of learning a new skill like hacking your way through a thick, dense forest. The very first time you try to speak a new language or play a chord on a piano, you're pushing through thick brush. It's hard. The connection between those neurons is brand new and pretty weak. But as you practice, those specific neurons pass notes together repeatedly. It's like walking that exact same path in the forest every single day. Eventually, you clear the brush. Then it becomes a dirt trail, then a paved road, and finally, a massive, high-speed superhighway. The more those neurons fire together, the stronger their connection gets. That is literally what learning is. You are physically building highways in your brain.
Section 5. System Reboot. Why your brain needs sleep.
But hey, with all that highway construction and non-stop note passing, the system definitely needs some maintenance. To keep all those billions of connections running smoothly, your biological supercomputer requires a mandatory nightly system reboot. We call it sleep. Now, sleep isn't just your brain powering down. It's actually highly active. During a stage called REM sleep, your brain is almost as active as when you're wide awake. But instead of processing the outside world, it's doing internal housekeeping. It organizes the memories you made that day, processes complex emotions, cements those learning pathways we just talked about, and clears out waste so your concentration and decision-making are incredibly sharp the next day. Skip the reboot and your memory gets weak and decision-making plummets. Sleep is just non-negotiable for a healthy supercomputer.
Section 6. The ultimate mystery. You and your supercomputer.
As we wrap up this explainer, we really come to a humbling realization. Even after centuries of meticulous scientific study, the human brain remains one of the absolute greatest mysteries in the entire known universe. Think about it. Every single thought you've ever had, every memory from when you were a kid, every joke you've laughed at with a friend, every weird dream, and every crucial choice you've made, it all begins right inside this extraordinary 3-pound organ. It takes hundreds of trillions of connections and chemical messengers firing perfectly in sync to create everything that makes you uniquely you. So take a second today to just appreciate the incredible machine inside your head. It is, without a doubt, the most powerful computer you will ever own. But remember, a computer is really only as good as the software running on it. And for the human brain, your curiosity is that ultimate software. So, what new path are you going to clear in your mind today? Never stop asking questions, because every great discovery begins with a curious mind. Thanks for exploring this amazing topic with us today, and keep learning.